Assalamu alaikum friends, welcome to day 13 of AFM revision crash course. This is the last topic for acquisition and merger, and here we are going to cover business valuation. This is from day 12 onwards because in day 12 we introduced acquisition and merger. Okay, so most things about acquisition and merger we have discussed in day 12, and in this we are going to focus on business valuation using various methods. And this is one of the most frequent question for AFM. So be prepared for this. And also, let me tell you that often students complain to me that business valuation is one of the difficult topic compared to others. That shows that you need to focus more on business valuation. Okay, do as much as possible, right? Questions on business valuation. So let's start. We are going to focus on past exam history, overview of valuation methods. What are the valuation methods? Then we are going to go in depth market based, cash based, and asset based valuation methods. These are the three valuation methods: market based, cash based, asset based, and under each of these three, we have more methods. Okay, so if you go through your exam history, you can see the valuation that has been asked the most is the cash flow, cash based. How do I know that? Just look, it is FCF and FCFE, that is free cash flow or free cash flow to equity. It has been almost asked in all the years. Then we have PE ratio. This is a market-based ratio, market-based valuation. Then we have dividend valuation, right? And net asset. Net asset never appeared from September 18 to 2021. Okay, but that does not mean that it cannot come for your setting. You have to be prepared for all the methods. But most likely, it is the cash-based which is asked. Now, there are three basic ways of valuing a business. We went through these three, right? Now we are going to go in depth. In your exam, you have to know the advantages and disadvantages of each of these three. Okay. And remember, whatever the methods you pick in real life, okay, when you're valuing a business, it's not easy. You will never get a precise answer. But at least the answer that you get could be a negotiation point. You could negotiate with this, right? When you're negotiating it with the seller, you can negotiate. This is just a starting point. Your valuation could be more or less than what you have measured using these three methods. Okay, but for your exam purpose, we'll keep this simple. Okay, and you have to know how to value using these three methods. One answer only. Now, for further reading, you can read on your ACCA website the technical article that is named as Business Valuation. Please go and read it. All these technical articles. I have got one email today morning asking me, ma'am, what is the important technical article for AFM? All. For any SSC paper, all the technical articles are equally important. Okay, you have to read. Now, starting with market based. In market based, we have three methods. First one is stock market valuation. Okay, but this is only applicable for listed company. If it's an unlisted company, you have to use other methods. You cannot use this method. Why? Because the value of the stock market, you will not get it. You will not get a public information if it is not listed. That's why they said of a listed company. Okay, here you just check the market value of the share, that's it. For listed company, if you want to know the value of that company, just look at the stock market value of the share. They will give you, often they will give you this value. Okay, but even that value you have to pay over above that value. That is called as premium. If you want to get a controlling interest, what is controlling interest? If you want to acquire more shares in that company, okay, majority shares, if you want, you have to pay a premium for it. Above that market value, you have to pay. Now the next is method under market based. This all are under market based only. Okay, there are three methods under each of this: cash based, asset based and market based. That makes it total 9 methods are there, 3 under each. So under market based, first one was stock market value. Second is known as Tobin's Q, or you can say market to book ratio. Here, here you will be given, how do you get the market value of target company? You'll be given a ratio. Okay, you will be given a market to book ratio. You multiply that with the book value of the target company's assets. They will give you the statement of financial position of the target company. So that value that is there in the statement of financial position is the book value. So you multiply book value with the market to book ratio and get the market value. It is just as that simple. Okay. So where market to book ratio, now sometimes they might not give you ratio. How do you get that ratio then? It is the market capitalization divided by your book value of assets. Or you can take the industry average. Anything, right? Third is PE method. This is most frequently asked compared to the Tobin's Q and the stock market. This is most likely to be asked. It was asked in the exam. Here, you will be given the profit after tax multiplied with the PE ratio, the industry's PE ratio. Okay, or if it's the value of a share, just one share, then it will be earnings per share multiplied by the PE ratio. So you have to see, are they asking value of a share or are they asking value of equity, value of the whole company or value of just one share? Okay. PE ratio should be that of a similar company. You just cannot take PE ratio of any company and apply it to your company. You have to see whether that company's whose PE ratio you're taking is similar to your company or not. But in reality, this is very difficult to find. Okay. Because how can you find exactly similar company to you? They might be having different risk. You might be having different risk. You have to do some adjustments with PE ratio in reality, right? But for exam purpose, you can take it. Now, coming to cash based. Under cash based, we have DVM, dividend valuation method. We all know dividend valuation method, the formula to get the share price. It is dividend 0, the first dividend that will be given to you, multiplied with the growth 1 plus G. G stands for growth, and K, cost of equity minus growth. Okay, first you get the share price. Then remember, things are not so easy. You will not get everything. It is not that you'll be given G also, you'll be given cost of equity and just apply. No. You sometimes have to find the growth rate. Sometimes you have to work for that cost of equity and then use the dividend valuation model. Understanding? So if growth rate is not given, how do you get the growth rate? You can get it from a model called as Gordon's growth model, which is G equal to BR. R stands for accounting rate of return. Okay. B stands for the earnings retention rate. For example, they might say that you are paying dividend 40%. Okay, that means how much you're retaining? The balance, 60%. So 60% is your B. You understanding? Multiplied with the accounting rate of return and get the growth and put it in the model. Discounted free cash flow. This is the second method under cash base. This is very frequently asked in the exam. I think more than 10 times it has been asked. Almost in all sittings this has been asked. Okay, here if you have followed my lecture of free cash flow and free cash flow to equity, which is the third method, you will know this better. Okay, you discount your free cash flow using WACC. We all know what is WACC. We have covered that lecture. Also, revision series also have covered WACC. So discount your free cash flow using WACC. You know how to make that table of free cash flow, right? It is same like net present value only. Here it is just free cash flow. You discount it using WACC and don't forget to deduct the value of debt. If it is FCF, if it is FCFE, which is the third method under cash based, okay, you do not have to deduct debt. Whatever the value you get, that is the value of the company. But you discount it not using WACC. You discount this time using cost of equity. You see, free cash flow to equity, cost of equity. The word equity, E at the end tells you you have to discount it using cost of equity, not WACC. And you do not deduct it with cost of debt. Okay. If this free cash flow to equity is expected to grow at a constant rate, then you can use this. Sorry, if free cash flow to equity is expected to grow at a constant rate, is expected to grow, sorry, then you can use this. Free cash flow into 1 plus G divided by cost of equity minus G. Okay, so this is also same like dividend valuation model only, but instead of dividend, you are putting free cash flow to equity and multiplying it with the growth and divided by cost of equity minus growth. That's how you are going to get the value of the company or value of equity. Value of equity, right? When they say value of company means they are more focused on value of equity. They are asking value of equity only. That's why we deduct debt from free cash flow. Free cash flow to firm or free cash flow, just FCF. But when it comes to free cash flow to equity, you do not deduct any debt. Whatever the value you get, it is value of equity only. Okay, clear? Now, cash based. Remember, for cash based, you can use accounting information. From accounting information only, you have to get the cash flow. They will give you accounting information. Sometimes they do not give cash flow like that. Directly, they will not give you cash flow. They might start with the profit. You have to convert that profit to cash flow. Understanding? So how do you estimate it? So identifying free cash flow, okay, for an individual project might be easier, but if it's for the whole entire company, okay, then it becomes very difficult. So in this situation, what do? Level of free cash flow is determined by going backwards. You start from the profit. You work back from the profit. Okay, and note that KE, that is cost of equity, can be used to discount free cash flow to equity, and you directly get the value of equity. Or if it's free cash flow, you discount it using WACC and deduct debt value to get the equity value. Okay, please understand the difference between these two. It's very important. FCF and FCFE, because often students confuse these two. Okay, don't do that. Now, how to calculate free cash flow from profit? This is the method that I've put for you. Please go through this and make sure that you get a question which involves accounting information. You should know how to start from the profit if free cash flows are directly not given to you. Net profit before interest and tax. With this, deduct tax, add depreciation because it's a non-cash item. You get operating cash flow, deduct your investment, non-current asset investment, and incremental non-current asset investment, incremental working capital investment. Then you get free cash flow for the firm as a whole. And please remember all this. What needs to be deducted, what needs to be added. Sometimes you might not have one or two items. It might be missing. It's okay. Whatever is there, do with it. Sometimes you might not be given non-current asset. Don't waste time searching for it. If it's not given, finish it. Whatever is given, let's say only working capital is given. So just deduct working capital. But hopefully they will give you both non-current asset and working capital. Now, from here you deduct interest and repayment. Add cash raised from debt issues. Let's say you have taken a loan. Because of that loan, cash is added, and then it is known as free cash flow to equity. Once you have deducted interest and repayment, okay, whatever is there, that cash flow entirely goes to the equity holders or shareholders, ordinary shareholders. That's why we say free cash flow to equity after deducting interest and repayments. Understood? Did you understand the logic behind this? Does it make any sense now? Yeah? Okay. So let's move ahead. Now we are going to asset-based valuation, the third method under that. Asset. We start with the basic asset. Okay. Now this could be book value, that is from a statement of financial position, or it could be replacement cost, or it could be net realizable value. Any of these three. Okay. But in all the cases, intangible assets are ignored. Third, because of this, okay, we only included tangible assets in basic asset. But next we have intangible, where we're including intangible also. Why? See, companies like Google, Twitter, or there are some companies, okay, whose assets are 85% of their values are where? They are lying in the intangibles, their goodwill, their workforce, the software that they use. You understanding? It's not in their tangible. So in terms of value, if you want to put a value to them, it becomes very difficult if you just go by non-current asset. Sorry, if you just go by tangible. It will not show their actual value because their actual value are worth more, much more than what is shown in the statement of financial position. Why? Because only tangible assets are there, right? But their value, 85% of their values are in their intangible. That's why we are including this also, intangible valuation. So here what we do, whatever the amount we got, just the asset, just the tangible asset, add the value of the intangible asset also with it and get the total value. Okay, the main way of getting that intangible value asset is, the name is known as CIV. It stands for calculated intangible value, and this is how we get it. You have to know it. Size 1, this might be asked. Okay, this has been asked in the exam. Step 1, you calculate a suitable competitor's return on assets. Okay, that means someone who is similar to you in size and structure. This is how you get it. Operating profit divided by asset employed, or use the industry average return. Step 2, calculate company's value spread. How do you do that? This is how you do it. From operating profit, deduct this return on asset multiplied by company's asset base and get the spread. Step 3, post tax value spread. Okay, so using the likely short term growth rate, find the expected post tax value spread. Okay, find the CIV by capitalizing the post tax spread. That means find the present value of that, assuming that the value spread would be earned forever. Step 4, this CIV is added to the net asset value to give the overall value of the firm. Okay, calculations are not possible for me to show here because this is a revision, but I've shown it when I did a lecture on this valuation where we went through CIV. Make sure that you do go through that, and please do enough questions on this business valuation because it's worth a lot of marks, and students often fail AFM because of this one topic, which is business valuation. And next one, the upcoming, which is reconstruction, the last revision lecture. So see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video to people like you who are struggling with AFM, and especially this topic is one of the most important topic. Also taking in mind that this is a very challenging topic for most of the students. Okay, so please do me a favor, forward this to your friends, to your colleagues, whoever, you know, it could be that last minute help. You might never know that you are helping many out there, and do tell them to subscribe to my channel too. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.